वो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Om. In Sugama, after a long time, I think maybe 2 or 3 weeks or even more, we are discussing Sugama. Where are we? Tad viparyayena tamcha pratyagatmanam. I think the 53 end. At the end of the 53, few last 2 or 3 lines are remaining. We shall complete that today. Tamcha pratyagatmanam sarvasakshinam tad viparyayena antakaranadishu adhyasyati. Now, just as Anatma is superimposed upon the Sakshi, Sakshi is also superimposed upon the Atma. That's why we find Anyonya Adhyasa, the mutually mistaking one thing for other. Okay, so tad viparyayena means on the contrary, imposes sarva sakshi. So he imposes means you find yours. See, whenever we say he imposes, we shouldn't think that we are consciously doing this thing. It is not an action on our part. Adhyasa is not a action on our part. Adhyasa is a notion. Adhyasa is neither an occurrence nor an event, neither an event nor an object. Adhyasa is neither an event nor an object. It is a notion. Okay. It is not an event that happens, nor it is an action. See, neither an action, nor it is an event, nor it is an object. Adhyasa is not an object. In fact, it is only an instinctive notion. A notion you don't entertain. A notion you find yourself with it. In that notion, even the sense of I, the I is also a part of that notion. Okay, that aham is also part of that notion. It is a complex thing. Therefore, in that I notion, there is already a mutual superimposition in the I notion. Okay, that's why he says tamcha pratyaga. So anatma, atma are mutually superimposed. Superimposed means it is a condition in which both of them got mixed up. The mixed is our experience. Atma appears Atma as an Anatma, Anatma as an Atma. It is a mixed state we experience. So as I told you, this superimposition or adhyasa is neither an event nor an object, but it is a simple notion. Okay, so earlier Bhashyakara has explained superimposition of Anatma upon the Atma. Now he is telling how Sakshi is superimposed upon the Anatma. That means the nature of the Sakshi. The nature of Sakshi is superimposed upon the Anatma. That's why we see body is myself. See, body is myself. In this I see Atma is one with the body. Atma has become conscious. Body has become conscious. Isn't it? That means the qualities of Atma, which is, what are the qualities of Atma are taken to be the qualities of the body, qualities of mind. Now, what are the qualities of Atma? Like eternal existence. Eternal existence is the nature of Atma. Consciousness is the nature of Atma. And these qualities of Atma, these characteristics of Atma are taken to be the characters of body, the characters of mind. Therefore, we think body is eternal. Intellectually, we know everybody is going to die, but I think I am eternal. My very existence is eternal. Nobody can think of his non-existence. Nobody wants to die. And he thinks that eternity belongs to body. And one side we know body is subject to death. Again, instinctively, our belief that I am the body, as a body I am eternal. So as an individual I am eternal. My individuality is eternal. My body is eternal. This eternity is an instinctive thought, instinctive notion. Secondly, body is consciousness. Mind is consciousness. So that means the consciousness, which is a character of Atma, is taken as belonging to the body, as belonging to the consciousness. So therefore here, the nature of Sakshi is superimposed upon the body and mind. Therefore, Tamcha Pratyagatmanam, Pratyagatma, the inner Atma. Anyway, Swamiji explains. First I give the brief meaning of Bhashyakara's statement, and then Swamiji's explanation we shall see. Sarva Sakshinam. He is a Sarva Sakshi. Sarva Sakshi means he is purely Sakshi, all Sakshi, nothing but Sakshi. Why do you say Sarva Sakshi? I think we will see in the explanation. In Swamiji's commentary we will give that. Now let us take simple, he is all Sakshi. Tad viparyayena, on the contrary, antakkaranadishu adhyasyati, imposes upon the antakkarana, sense organs and the body. Okay, now let us see the Swamiji's explanation. Tad viparyayena, tat tasya aham pratyayitva adhyasasya viparyayena vaiparityena. Now, on the contrary to that, contrary to what earlier we stated, anatma is superimposed upon the Atma. And contrary to that, tad vaiparityena tamcha pratyagatmanam mityaiva asmat pratyaya gocharatvena swikrutam. So this pratyagatma is falsely taken as an individual. That means I notion. We generally refer to Atma through I notion. How do we refer to Atma? In fact, how do we think of ourselves? We think of ourselves. Ourself means Atma. We think of Atma through I notion. Not through you notion or that notion, this notion. You, this and that. These are the words. You, this and that. These words we never use to refer to Atma. Atma is generally, means in common man's life, is taken as a subject. But Atma in reality is neither subject nor object. It transcends both. Atma in its real nature, Atma means the consciousness or the pure existence. The pure existence or consciousness is neither subject nor object. It is neither subject nor object. It transcends both. It exists in its own right. It exists on itself. So it is independent. It cannot be referred by any word. Atma in its real nature is not available for any reference, either as a subjective word or an objective word. Word and also coming to the notion. No notion can really point out the Atman, neither the subject notion nor the objective notion, because Atma is free from any notion. That means Atma is available for no notion. Consciousness is available for no notion. because the very nature of a thought, notion means a thought. The very nature of a thought is to objectify something. What is thought of is not Atma. A thought can think of something which it can objectify. A thought can think of. Thought, thinking of, it is a way of telling. Thought itself means a thought is always about something. That something which a thought can think of, means a mind can form an opinion, form a thought about it, is always an object, is always anatma. Anatma means anything you can think of is other than consciousness. Anything you can think of is other than consciousness. Therefore, all thoughts pertain to means about other than consciousness alone. Consciousness itself cannot be thought of. Thought cannot think of, because consciousness, it's the very nature of consciousness is to know but not to be known. The very nature of consciousness is to know but not to be known. So what is thought? Thought is knowing, objectifying. Thought objectifies anything other than consciousness, never the consciousness. If thought tries to objectify the consciousness, two things happen. Either the thought itself unable to conceive, the thought or a notion unable to conceive consciousness itself disappears. Thought dissolves, or if thought starts imagining, then it ends up imagining something else other than consciousness alone. It thinks that is consciousness. The thought thinks that what can be conceived as consciousness, that again is a mistake. Therefore, consciousness is eternally consciousness. It is not available to any thought. Therefore, pratyagatmanam, that's why Bhashyakara Shankaracharya has used it as a pratyagatma. See, Atma we know, it is a pratyagatma. What is again pratyak? Atma means myself. So myself, what kind of myself? Oh, are there many? Yes. It is an inner myself, inner self. What is inner? When everything else is objectified, when everything else is negated, what cannot be negated, what remains itself, where all negation culminates and nothing further, no further negation is possible, and what exists on its own, what is self-existing, Swayam Prakasha, Swayam Satta. Swayam Satta, Swayam Prakasha, Swayam existing. Swayam Siddha we call it, self-existent. What exists on its own doesn't depend upon any thought process. Okay? Neither positive thought nor a negative thought. Consciousness exists independent of a positive thought or a negative thought. Positive means so and so. Negative means not this, not this. So, neither a positive thought nor a negative thought. Consciousness is independent of any thought. Therefore, pratyagatma means Atma, which is independent of any thought. All thought process ends. The consciousness itself, the Atma itself is not available for any thought. Therefore, pratyagatmanam, all these things we have discussed anyway, it's only just for manana. Much more elaborately we discussed. So, pratyagatmanam, that pratyagatma, at the moment, in my understanding, which happens to be a misunderstanding, in the present condition, mityaiva asmat pratyaya gocharatvena svikrutam. See, actually it is a pratyagatma, but we have taken it to be a subject. Pratyagatma, the inner Atma, is Sakshi. Sakshi is self-existent. It's not available for any thought, yet we take Atma to be subject. We take Atma to be subject and everything else is object. The entire world is an object, and I as an individual is a subject. Subject means what? I am aware of the world. As a knower of the world, while knowing the world, I stand. I stand being related to the world. So the subject means what? The knowership, the knower, an individual knower. An individual knower stands as a knower of something, as a relative knower of something, that he knows something. While knowing something, I stand as a subject, because subject is a relative thing. Subject is a subject only with reference to object. Okay, a knower is a knower, that is a jnata. Jnatru is a jnatru with reference to gneyam. Subject is a subject with reference to object, because I know something. As a knower of something, while knowing something, or in related to knowing, in related to an object, I stand as a subject. In related to subject, that means something I know. As I'm knowing it, while knowing, I stand as a knower of it. So this my knowership is in relationship with it. This kind of a pramatrutvam is called subject. Subject or pramatru or jnatru, all these words mean the same. Okay, so mityaiva, falsely we take the pure consciousness which is sakshi, the pure consciousness which is sakshi, which is free from any notion, is taken to be a subjective notion. Subjective means what? It is a relativeness. Relativeness is subject. Sakshi is unrelated. Subject is relative. This we should remember. Subject is related to object. Sakshi is related to none, because none exists apart from Sakshi. Sakshi is neither a subject nor object, because Sakshi is not related to second thing, because the second doesn't exist for the Sakshi. Sakshi is on its own, independently, and all himself, all by himself, without a second thing. Like in deep sleep. In deep sleep, you remain all by yourself. There is nothing you can think of. Because why? Why there is no thought in deep sleep? Because there is no second thing. Thought always thinks of something other than you. See, note this. Thought can think of something other than you. You can't think of yourself. If you think of yourself, then again you are making yourself as a thinkable, as a conceivable. Once you conceive, then you become something objectified, something available for conception. But the real Atman, the Sakshi Atman, the witnessing consciousness is available neither for an objective thought nor for a subjective thought. Object is a notion, thought, subject is a notion. Consciousness itself is neither. And from that consciousness, there is consciousness doesn't entertain a thought, doesn't depend upon a thought, it is independent of thought. That's why Bhashyakara Shankaracharya calls it Pratyagatman. Okay, Pratyag, the inner. Inner to what? Inner to even thought. He is inner to the thought also. That means it doesn't depend upon a thought. Many other things depend upon thought. See, there is a self. What is the self? Knower self. I know through my sense organs. I know through my mind. An individual who is identified with the body, identifies with sense organs, identifies with mind, identifies with intellect, identifies himself as an individual knower of many things. So this individuality depends upon mind. I depend upon mind, then I say I am a thinker, knower, feeler and all. I depend upon my sense organs, then I say I see and I feel and touch and hear and all. I depend upon my body. Depending upon means I include bodily features as a part of me. I see my identity through the bodily features. I see my identity because I have an image about myself through the body. When you think of yourself, you have an image of yourself. In your self-image, your body is a part of it. isn't it? Bodily features. I am male, I am female. I am a young boy, I am an old man. What does it mean? When you say I am a human being, human pertains to body. Okay, body is a human. Body can be animal. Body can be devata. Body can be rishi. Or there can be no body also. Like in deep sleep, you are without body. So, bodily features you put upon the Atman, and then Atma is taken to be body. Individualizes. It makes you an individual through the body, through the conception of the body. And the bodily qualities, bodily features, bodily characters are taken to be the characters of Atma. Then Atma becomes an individualized. Okay, you stand as an individual means what? When you see the world in front of you, behind you, left of you, right of you, above you, and below you, that means you are a point. Like it is like putting a point in the space. In the space you put a point, then comes the distance, then comes the front and back and left and right and above and below. Okay, all these relations come into place only when you put a point of place. Suppose there is no point, erase the point. Like in deep sleep. In deep sleep you are no more an individual. When you are not an individual, tell me what is in front and what is in back. What is left of you or right of you? There is no front and back and left and right, because these front and back and left and right are the relationships with reference to an individual. Okay, a center, a point of place. If the point is erased, no front and back and left and right, no space, no time, no individuality. So this is individuality. Assuming a point in the space or in time, assuming a point of time, a point of place is jiva. That is individuality. That is subject. Okay. Therefore, that individuality is related to object. So you see there is a world in front of you, back of you, left of you, and right of you. That means you. What is that you? When you are seeing yourself in relationship with the world, when you see yourself in relationship with the world, what is me? Who is related to the world? I am one individual who is a part of the world. I am an individual who is a part of the world. So he says that individuality which gets related to the world, which feels one point of space and point of time, which feels that he is a part of the world where the world is around you, that is an individuality. But Atma itself in its real nature, like in deep sleep, it has neither front nor back nor left or nor right. Why? There is no world other than you. In deep sleep, you alone remain. What you? Not an individual you. You give up even your individuality. Therefore, you cannot refer deep sleep as an individual. After coming to waking state, you are an individual, and this waking individual is referring to deep sleep as me. But in fact, there is no I notion. There is no individuality in deep sleep. Individuality belongs to waking state, and you erase it along with the waking state. When you give up the waking, you cease to be an individual. When you give up waking, go to sleep. When you give up waking, you cease to be an individual, isn't it? Your individuality pertains to waking state. When you are off from waking state, when you erase the waking state, you erase your individuality. You stand without individuality. That means you stand infinite. You stand infinite in deep sleep. In fact, in deep sleep is a wrong way of telling. Deep sleep is synonymous to you. You and deep sleep are just synonyms. Infinite you. Infinite existence without individuality. Okay. Without individual thought is not there. So you are free from any thought, free from even your individuality. You exist as pure existence, infinite existence, free from individuality, free from location. Otherwise, in waking state, you feel you are located in time, you are located in place, in space. That location is individuality. Okay, a point of space or a point of time, a point is individuality. In deep sleep, you are free from that point because the point belongs to waking state. And you stand without waking state. Waking state is only an imposition upon you. You are yourself all alone, infinite you, neither subject nor object. It just is infinite you. Okay. Even the word you doesn't apply. Neither you nor I, no word applies. We are just imposing the word and referring. Even to refer you and I, why? Even to refer through the words of you and I, even that has to be imposed. You have to artificially impose by itself, not available for you and I, either you or I, neither you nor I. No thought is possible, no thought is required. See, for me to exist, I don't need a thought. You need a thought of individuality to relate to the world, to look at the world. To relate to the world, you need individuality, the subject. But to remain yourself, to be yourself, you are the being. Just to be what you are, you don't need individuality. You don't need a notion. You don't need a thought. Okay. Because you stand independent of thought. That pratyagatmanam, see Bhashyakara Shankaracharya says pratyagatmanam mitchaiva asmat pratyaya gocharatvena swikrutam. It is wrongly taken to be an individual, wrongly taken to be subject, individuality or subject. So subject is only a notion, but your existence is free from notion. Subjecthood is a relative notion, a notion related to object. Okay, so a notion is attributed to you. The you which himself transcends the subjecthood. Himself is not available for any reference, either subject or object. That pratyagatmanam michaiva asmat pratyaya gocharatvena swikrutam. It is taken as asmat pratyaya gochara. These Sanskrit words can communicate better. But anyway, we have to speak in English. Sanskrit words, see, asmat pratyaya gocharatvena swikrutam. So it is wrongly taken, because wrongly taken means through the notion. You put a notion, no notion can do justice to Atma. Atma is available for neither subject notion nor object notion. Yet we happen to use subjective notion, notion of me, notion of I. Notion of I doesn't really refer to Atma. It refers to one part of Atma, a small piece. That's why we call it is imposed thought, imposed reference. Therefore, Swikrutam Vastutaha Sarvasakshinam. In fact, he is a Sarvasakshi. Sarvasakshi means all Sakshi, leaving nothing. He is not a partial Sakshi. He is not a Sakshi of a given thing. Okay? Is not Sakshi means a knower. He is not a knower of a given thing. He is a knower of everything. Everything means what? Both subject and object. Everything means, how do you understand? These are all Vedantic terms. That's why I told you. People have to listen for a length of time to be able to understand these nuances. In the beginning, first day, nothing can be understood. So, because each word is a technical term. Each word has got a deeper connotation. You keep on listening for a few months, then the clarity comes, then each point is explained, then later it starts clicking. Before that, it all confusion. Okay, so Sarvasakshinam. Why Sarvasakshi? Because Sakshi means a knower. But now this knower, the subject is a knower of an object alone. But here he is a knower of subject and object. He knows the entire waking state, entire dream state. All states he knows. He himself stands without a state. So consciousness or the Sakshi stands without a state. That means he is free from any state. He is aware of all states. Aware means what? He sees all the states as a part of him. He is not within the state. He is not related to state. State is imposed on him, on the consciousness, Waking as a state is imposed on consciousness. Consciousness pervades the entire waking state. See, consciousness pervades the entire waking state. He is not a part of the state. He pervades the state. See, one who is a part of the states cannot pervade the entire state. For example, for the worldly example, one who is within the room can't be the entire room. To be the entire room, you can't be a part of the room. One who is within the room is only a within the room. In order to be entire room, in order to be able to see the entire room, you have to come out of the room. You come to the edge of the room, then you can have a complete view of the room. Similarly, to be able to see the entire waking state, you can't be an individual who is a part of the waking state. Okay? So, the consciousness, the Sakshi is Sarva Sakshi because Sakshi, Atma, which is Sakshi or which is a witnessing consciousness, is not a part of waking state but pervades the entire waking state. Entire waking state is in the consciousness. Consciousness doesn't form a part of the waking state. Therefore, he is Sarva Sakshi. So, Bhashyakara, Shankaracharya says, Sarva Sakshinam, Sarvesham, Antakarana Pratyayanam, Tad Gochari Bhutanam, Dehadinam, cha, Sakshat Drashtaram, Pratyagrupamapi. Oh, Swamiji clarified it. So, Sarvesham, Sarva Sakshi means Sarva Sakshi. Two words are there. What is Sarva? Sarva means everything. What is Sarva here? Sarva means everything. Sarvesham. What is Sarvesham? Antakarana Pratyayanam. All the Antakarana thoughts. All the thought means both subject and object. All the subjective notions, objective notions, all the notions. And Gochari Bhutanam Dehadinam. And also the objects which are known through various thoughts. Thoughts of subject and thoughts of object. Okay. All the things that are known through the subject-object notions. The notions and the objects of notions. Therefore, Pratyayanam tad Gochari Bhutanam, he says. Pratyaya and also their Gochari Bhuta. Pratyaya is a Asmat Pratyaya and Yushmat Pratyaya. And Pratyaya Gochara. Both these are Dehadinam cha Sakshat Drashtaram. So, Sakshi knows everything means what? He stands outside it. He is not a part of it. One who is a part of it cannot see. See, this is a worldly example, very interesting example. If you are standing in the room, middle of the room, you can only see the front portion, you can't see the back portion. Then if you have to see this portion, you have to turn this side. When you turn your face this side, you see this part of your room and again miss the back portion. So as long as you are standing within the room, you cannot see the entire room. You can only see a part of it and other part you miss it because other part you cover yourself. Your individuality covers a part of it and sees the another part of it. To be able to see the entire room, what should you do? As long as you remain within the room, you can't see the entire room. In order to see the entire room, you have to come out of the room. That means you have to come to the edge of the room. When you come to the edge of the room, then the entire room is in your front. Similarly, when you have to see the waking state, entire waking state, both subject and object has to be included. Subject and object have to be included. That means you no more remain an individual who is a part of the state. The entire state is within my consciousness. Consciousness pervades the entire waking. Therefore, the wakeful consciousness pervades the entire waking state. The subject, object, all the thoughts, all the good and bad and near and far, me and mine and others, everything, all the thoughts are within consciousness. Therefore, Sarva Sakshinam. And through these thoughts, whatever objects you see through the thoughts and the objects seen through the thoughts, the entire universe is within consciousness. Therefore, Sarva Sakshinam, Sakshat Drashtaram Pratyagrupamapi Santam parak swabhaveshu antakaranadishu, such a sakshi who is not a part of the waking state, who pervades the entire waking state and stands by himself, and such sakshi, what a mistake we are under. See, that consciousness, we take it to be an individual. This is samsara. This adhyasa, this misunderstanding is real samsara. The consciousness which is not a jiva, which is not an individual, which is the basis of entire universe, is taken to be an individual. Jiva. The individuality is jiva. Okay. So this makes for samsara. Therefore, parak swabhaveshu antakaranadishu adhyasyati. See, antakaranadishu, antakarana, adi. So the consciousness which is a witness of the entire state, all states, waking, dream and everything, time and space, it witnesses the past, present and future, the entire time. Consciousness is not a part of time, it is not a point of time. The past, present and future, the entire time is within consciousness, the entire space is within consciousness. Therefore, the consciousness which pervades the entire universe, entire state, is taken to be an individual. What a mistake, you see. This mistake is avidya. This is adhyasa. And this is samsara karanam. This is the cause of samsara. Putra bharyadi paryanteshu. Starting from antakarana, sense organs, body, external property and relatives, your wife and children and other relatives, etc. All this is an identification. Consciousness is taken to be an individual, and consciousness is taken to be the body. That's what. So putra bharyadi paryanteshu bhashyeshu cha aham pratyayi swarupavabhasa vishesheshu adhyasyati. He imposes the consciousness in the I notion, and through the I notion, other notions. See, body is seen, but I identify with that I notion, and the consciousness is connected with it. Consciousness is first made into an I notion, then I notion is pushed into antakarana, identify with antakarana, extended, then further extended to sense organs. The same again I notion is extended to body, then extended to relatives and friends and other people, also family members, property and all. See how the consciousness is imposed, connected to the other part of the world. Adhyasyati atmano yat satyatvam. Okay, the last portion is there, the one line. With this 53rd concludes, atmano yat satyatvam, that the Atma is ever existing. Atma, the conscious Atma, Chaitanya Atma. It is the nature of Atma to be eternity, to be eternally existing. That eternal existence of Atma, we put it, we mix it with antakarana, mix it with the body. Mix means impose. Impose with the body. We say that body is eternal. We think body is always existing. Pratyaktvam. And also we think that body is the subject, mind is the subject, and we are seeing the world. We think mind is the subject. Is mind subject actually? Mind is also part of the world. As much as any wall and other table and book, wall and tree and etc., as much as they are part of the waking state, my sense organs and mind are also part of the waking state. But you see how we mistake? We take antakarana as a subject. Antakarana means mind. We take the mind is the subject and the thoughts are the object. Emotions and thoughts. Sense organs are the subject and the perceived objects are the objects. Okay? Body is me and the rest of the world is other. When I say world, I exclude my body. Talk of the rest of the world. I exclude my body. I say I am in the world. I am in the world, what does it mean? They say I am the body existing in the world. But is body not part of the world? When body is part of the world, why do you say I am in the world? See, it's a strange thing. That's a mistake. This is bhranti. This is an error. This is adhyasa. Okay, I take myself to be body. Then as a body I say I am in the world. That means you take that conscious Atma, Chaitanya, Atma, impose on the Antakarana, then further impose on the sense organs, then further impose on the body, then again impose on my wife and children and other relatives and etc., mother, father and so on. Okay, therefore, so Atma's nature is eternal existence, self-existence. We attribute that existence to Antakarana. We attribute that existence to body. Okay. Then Pratyaktvam, it is inner to other world, other objects. The subjecthood, Atma is innermost of all. But Atma's nature of that innerness is attributed to Antakarana. We take Antakarana is inner and the world is outside. We attribute it to the sense organs. We think sense organs are inside and the world is outside. Again we attribute that innerness to the body and say body is a subject and world is other than me. That means how the innerness of the Atman, that is Pratyaktvam. Pratyak in Sanskrit means inner. So the Pratyaktvam, innerness of the Atman, is imposed upon the mind, imposed upon sense organs, imposed upon the body, which is not real Atma. Body is not the Atma. Body is not consciousness. Okay. It is known to consciousness, but not consciousness. Sense organs are not conscious. Mind is not consciousness because they are thoughts within consciousness. Yet, we impose the consciousness upon the Antakarana, sense organs and body and so on. Therefore, Chidrupatvam. What are the other points? The nature of consciousness we impose. One is existence. It is the nature of Atma to be existing. So Atma's existence we impose upon the body. Body is not parallel to Atma. See, body has no existence apart from Atma. Mind has no existence apart from Atma. Just as ornament has no existence apart from gold. Gold is existing. What is ornament? Ornament is the way it appears. It is an apparent thing. It has no existence. Just as, see, gold and also a book or a table. Just as a table has got a parallel existence, table has a parallel existence with gold, but ornament cannot be said to be existing in addition to gold. Is ornament an additional object, an object additional to gold? Can you say it is a parallel, it is adjacent to gold? Ornament is not something adjacent to gold. It is not addition to gold. It doesn't exist as an ornament at all. Ornament is only a posture of, like a person stands, sits and bends down and lies down. These are all various postures. Your standing is one posture, like yogasanas when you do. Standing is one posture. Bending is another posture. Sitting is another posture. Lying down is another posture. So, posture doesn't make an individual entity. Body has postures. Body has various postures, but each posture is not in another body. Okay? Similarly, ornament is not in another existence apart from gold. Gold is really exists. Ornament is only an appearance of the same gold. Same gold in another form, in another format, that's all. Similarly, world is only another format of the same consciousness. But we take the Antakarana as another entity. Body is another entity addition to consciousness, additional to Atma. This is the biggest mistake and this is the cause of samsara. All samsara is due to this alone. Therefore, Chidrupatvam. Okay, Chidrupatvam, consciousness. Consciousness is nature of Atma alone. We say mind is conscious. We say sense organs are conscious. My eyes are seeing. Can I see? The consciousness which you find in the eyes, which you find in the ears, doesn't belong to ears and eyes. It belongs to Atma alone. Atma's consciousness is borrowed, imposed upon the sense organs, imposed upon the mind, which really they don't have. Mind doesn't have consciousness of its own. Sense organs don't have any consciousness of its own. The consciousness belongs to Atman, but it appears in Antakarana. appears in the mind, appears in the sense organs, appears in the body. We take body to be conscious, and a table is unconscious and inert. Okay, that means consciousness is imposed upon the body. That's what he says, Chidrupatvam. Each word of Shankaracharya is amazing, see, each word. So, Ananda Swarupatvancha, Atma by its nature is full and natural. Atma is a natural state. What is Ananda, tell me? It is a very difficult to explain. Ananda can be explained by its expressed symptoms. Love is Ananda. Peace is Ananda. Naturalness is Ananda. Okay. What is happiness? When you are natural. Or effortlessness is Ananda. Spontaneity is Ananda. When you are effortless, your very nature is Ananda. Ananda is a nature. It is not a tentative experience which comes and goes. Ananda is a nature. Therefore, naturalness is Ananda. Infinity is Ananda. If you feel limited, constrained, you feel uncomfortable. When you feel totally free, free means what? Uncontrolled, unconstrained by others. As long as other is there, you are controlled. Therefore, freedom is Ananda. How do you define Ananda? How do you explain? Freedom is Ananda. Independence, that is what it is. Independence, that means nothing can control you. You feel relaxed. That relaxedness is Ananda. You don't feel bound. Don't feel bound and obliged, controlled, conditioned. That you have to be obliged to others. You have to take care of others. You can't ignore. You can't neglect and live. That means you are bound. There is nothing you have to be accountable to, because nothing questions you. There is nothing other than you. So infinity is Ananda, freedom is Ananda, spontaneity Ananda, relaxedness is Ananda, naturalness is Ananda, peace is Ananda. There is no conflict in you. You are not against yourself, because there is nothing other than you which conflicts with you. You are just alone, all alone, spontaneous. Okay, effortlessness is Ananda. Effort gives a strain. Strain is pain. Okay, separation is pain. When there is oneness is Ananda. Separation is pain. Okay, effortlessness is Ananda. Effort is a strain. Effort gives a strain, stress. Effort is pain. Effortlessness is Ananda. Isn't it? What is Ananda? Effortlessness, freedom, infinity. Infinity is Ananda. Whole universe, whole thing is one, you. And there is nothing other than you. When there is no second thing, the second one threatens you, limits you, controls you, dictates you. Okay? Suppose you are a worldly example. You are all alone in your room. You can do anything you like. You sit or stand or stretch your legs and anything. Suppose there is another person, you have to be careful. You have to address him. You have to keep in mind and sitting and talking. If you shout, they say, hey, don't disturb me. If you switch on the light, I say, I don't want light. Or if you want to switch off the light, you say, hey, why are you switching off? I am here sitting. I need light. When you want to switch off the fan, you say, hey, I need the fan. What do you do? Oh my God, every moment, for every movement, you have to take care of other person. You have to consider other person. Suppose there is no other person. You are all alone. You may switch off, switch on, sit or stand or lie, anything you do. That means the second person controls you, restricts you. You have to be accountable to him. You have to keep in mind. Okay. Infinity is total freedom. The infinite entity Atma doesn't see any other thing. Therefore, he becomes totally free. Okay. He's totally free because there is nothing other than him to challenge him, to restrict him, to control him, to dictate him. If there is second, even if it is a mosquito, a smallest insect, very small insect, you have to account for it. You have to be careful. You have to be afraid of it. Isn't it? Oh, you can't say, oh, it is a small creature. What can it do? Oh, it can make you sleepless whole night. One mosquito is enough. However big officer you are, even if you are prime minister or president, it can make you sleepless whole night. Why one night it will go daytime, again come back next night? 3 days it can make you sleepless. Okay. Therefore, don't ignore. Even if it is a small distance, a small particle, okay, a small sand particle stuck in your mouth can give you trouble. Okay, a small, what you call, a thorn pricked in your, what you call, sole of your leg. Okay, a small one pricks, it gives you pain. Restless, you can't even walk. All your walking stops. That means anything other than you gives trouble, dictates you, controls you, then you lose freedom. Okay, the second less is freedom. Infinity is freedom. Infinity is Ananda. Independence is Ananda. Spontaneity is Ananda. Naturalness is Ananda. Effortlessness is Ananda. People ask, what is Ananda? You say, Swamiji, Ananda, Ananda all time. What is Ananda? Ananda which we talk of, Atma's Ananda, is different from your worldly Ananda. Worldly Ananda is all different. Anyway, we have discussed all these things again. Why again? Some of them I am discussing. Many things we have discussed already. It may come again. Okay? Ananda Swarupatvancha Tat Sarvante Shwadhyaropayati. So, Atma's nature of Ananda, he imposes in Antakarana. Therefore, he says, mind is happy. Oh, my sense organs are happy. My body is relaxed and happy and healthy. So, the Atma's nature of Ananda, you try to see through Antakarana. Try to see in the body. Try to see in the sense organs. Try to see in your relatives. If you have got a wife or sister or brother or somebody. When they are happy, when they got passed in the exam, when they are happy, you feel, oh, my daughter is doing well and my somebody is doing well, brother or somebody is doing well, you feel very happy. Okay, that means your happiness consists in them. You put your happiness in them. In fact, it belongs to all, it belongs to only Atma. It is the very nature of Atma. Okay, so this nature of Atma, what are the qualities? Satyatvam, Pratyatvam, Chidrupatvam, Anandarupatvam. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 characters of Atma, we impose on Antakarana, sense organs, and the Deha. Okay, this is called mutual Adhyasa. Bhashyopata Sarva Sakshitva Vishesha Kritya. So 53rd point. In between we had a 2 or 3 weeks gap. Okay. Now after gap we are discussing again. So 53rd we have finished. 54 we have to begin. And thus I think that we shall begin. We will take up in the next class. That is, next is, today is Wednesday. Okay. Tomorrow is anyway Vedanta Sara in Kannada. Day after tomorrow we'll continue. Okay. This Sugama. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Tat Sat.